Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 34. It's Iliya here and I'm so glad to see you on my YouTube channel. As always, in this weekly outlook, we're gonna have a look at how the market developed this week and what do we expect for the upcoming one. So this week wasn't one of the best ones. I actually did not take any trades because the market was very condensed. We didn't have any pullbacks. We had a lot of selling pressure on the NZD and the Aussie pair, and the dollar was just indecisive, wasn't giving any pullbacks, and we're gonna see how the pairs did not act as we wanted them to. So right now we see that we have pretty nice movements into the end of the week. So I think for the next week we're gonna have some fire opportunities. So if you're new to the channel, this is all about trading, investing, mindset, psychology, everything. A lot of content will be posted, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notification bells in order not to miss everything that is coming, and let's go straight to the video. As always, guys, we're going to start by having a look at the dollar and what do we expect for the dollar to do. So very simple analysis we have here. So you can see after the open of this week, price was just trying to climb up and reach this higher high. So what we waited for, we had, we had a break of this kind of structure. So I said, well, let's wait for a bigger pullback to this area. But you see, after the market opened exactly here, price just continued to push up, giving us very small, very little pullbacks, and actually started to consolidate. And the last few days we had a nice break of this structure and a nice retest, and then on Friday the price just plummeted. So returning back to the daily to have a clear look at what is happening, we can see clearly that we have an ascending trend line here. And this trend line is massively broken with a very nice daily bearish candle. So this immediately tells me sell bias. I see a little potential for a little head and shoulders here. Maybe if I drop on the 4 hourly, you're gonna see it clearly. You see left shoulder, head, and we can potentially pull back for the right shoulder. We have a structural area as well here. It's actually a pretty big zone, something like this, because we see tap here, resistance break, retest, second retest, failure to continue to the upside, and a massive break. So we can draw a Fibonacci as well, knowing that the trend line is broken. We can do a Fib from the swing high to the swing low and expect a pullback on the dollar and then continuous selling pressure. Usually after such massive selling pressure, price will not pull back far too much to the 61.8, and sometimes we might get it into between 50 and the 38.2, not to say just 38.2. So let's wait for a little pullback on the dollar. I am bearish bias, so let's see how this price finds support in and around this area, pulls back for a lower high, and then I will be looking for a continuation, which means that we are looking for a strong euro. So let's see. Euro USD, we see absolutely the same price action. So we were looking at this market around this area here for a continuation to the downside, but we marked this very strong supportive region, right? So we can see that price just made this lower low, and on Friday, as we had a lot of euro news, this price just started to push to the upside. So what do we have from the daily? We have this simple trend line that is kind of getting broken, but right now price is approaching a daily structural point, this kind of area here. Let me change my colors because just give me a second. All right, this looks better in order for you to see it well. So we can see that price is approaching this area, and I would expect a little pullback. So very similar to the DXY, we will look for a pullback to the downside and the DXY to the upside. What am I looking here? Price tapped massively, and you see why we didn't get a trading opportunity? Because the price action was looking like this since the beginning of the week. Very minor pullbacks and really unclear structure. Then we had a nice break. I was looking for this opportunity. We had a look at it with the team, this one, but I didn't take it. So yeah, because I don't trade on Fridays usually, but we can see that the price massively pushed to the upside. So right now, guys, deleting everything, very similar to the DXY. We should wait for a little pullback back to retest the structural point, or just a pullback to either 38.2, 50 or 61.8%. So very bullish bias on euro. Let's see if it continues this buying pressure into the next week. Euro JPY, what do we see on this pair, guys? Well, it's just a very messy consolidation. We see the wick opened here, bullish candle, bullish candle, and an indecision. So we just have a very simple analysis. We have this box here, price is stuck in between this box. So what are we going to wait? Guess what? Well, a break and retest. We had massive selling pressure to the downside, as we can see. So I would expect that this is an accumulation phase. If you don't know what accumulation and distribution phase is, make sure to let me know, so I'm going to explain it in another video. So price is currently gathering orders, confusing all of us. So what I will wait is a break to the upside and a retest and a continuation, because if the euro is gonna remain strong, then this one should push to the upside. But Euro JPY as well depends on USD JPY, because USD JPY is affecting all the Japanese yen pairs. So it's pretty important to monitor both EU and EUJ in order to guess the bias for Euro JPY. But very simple technical analysis on this one, guys. I will be waiting for a pullback, and as you can see on the daily, we just created a lower low. So even on the daily, we should pull back to create a daily lower high, which may be a Fibonacci level, and we can search for some structural areas here on the daily fips. So let's see. Shorter term, I want to see a break and retest and a continuation to the upside. Aussie USD, massive selling pressure since the beginning of the week. As you can see, we didn't have any pullback, nothing at all. Price just continued to push down, slow down a little bit without a clear pullback, and just the last 2 days were just bearish pushes. So what did we have on this market? The catalyst for this massive push is this structural point, this head and shoulders, beautiful head and shoulders. We have 5 days or 4 days of rejection here, and then the price massively broke to the downside. So currently though, we're entering into a very, very strong demand area. This one here, because you see wick, 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 and after every tap of this area, price creates an uptrend. So let's see how the market reacts to this area. Currently, we don't see anything, but as you can see, I didn't get any trading opportunities because I personally would love to see clear price action. While here, you see price at the beginning of the week pushed down, started to consolidate, pushed up, potential trading opportunity here, push down, then this looked to me like a consolidation, then the price broke to the downside, very little pullback again, pushed down. It's just not clear. So what I want to see on this market, well, I think that this should make a bigger pullback on the daily because it looks super overextended. So there are a few scenarios that may happen. Price may find support here and give us a nice bullish push. Then we can wait for a pullback, potential FIP setup, and then we can have a nicer pullback like this. Make sure to mark your structural points. The first one is this one. So if price breaks above it, comes back for a retest, either for a perfect retest or maybe just anywhere in between this area, but not to break the last lower low, and then we can potentially look for reversals. However, price may come back again here to tap to create another lower high or a double tap, and then continue to push to the downside. So I'm very indecisive about Aussies and NZDs as well. So I'm gonna make sure to let Monday play out and to see how traders are going to position themselves for those pairs. Overall, we're still sell biased, so I want to see a clear shift of structure before I jump into any longs. Aussie JPY, absolutely the same structure with Aussie USD. So what do we have here, guys? We had a massive daily uptrend that got broken right here. We had a gap, the gap wasn't filled, and then a massive selling pressure to the downside. So what I see right here is a little zone that I'm going to draw something like this. Why do I draw this? Resistance, interactions, a lot of interactions here, break, retest, failure to continue, break, retest, continuation, break. The gap occurred here, but we didn't have a retest. So if I draw a daily FIP, we can expect, you see it's around perfectly in between the 61.8 and a 50% FIP. So if this price action decides to find some support and to start pullback, I think we can create a nice 4-hourly uptrend in order to make that daily pullback. So you see how I use the daily in order to determine where price action is and where I want it to pull back. And this pullback, I'm going to trade on the 4-hourly. So potentially we have like, this is a whole area here of cluster. You see price stopped here and then created an uptrend. So there is a potential area here. Let me check the 4-hourly. Yeah, it's just a little consolidation, but so I will remove it. what I would expect in this market, you will see here the gap wasn't filled, price just continued, little pullback. This was a nice trading opportunity here. Push to the downside, lower low, lower high, and right now a lower low. Where is my last lower high? Well, it's a beautiful intraday zone in and around this area. What I want from this market, for a reversal to break this zone and to come back for a retest. However, if we want to remain with the trend, I will wait for the price action to pull back to this zone and to give me a rejection, and then I will look for a continuation only if I get my confirmations. I look usually for a lot of confirmations, so if I do expect a reversal on this one, I will be more cautious about it. But just sticking with the trend, guys, downtrend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, we should expect a lower low and a continuation to the downside. But if we see some bullish pressure, and even then the price can fail to break and form an inverse head and shoulders and then push to the upside, then we will have a long opportunity. However, we have to see those formations. Don't just bet on this price that it's going to reverse. I think it's going to reverse, but if I see a short opportunity, I will make sure to act on it. So let's see what will happen with the Aussies. I'm pretty interested about him. NZD USD daily time frame. Let's see what do we have on this pair. We had a gap here as well, and price just continued pushing down without any clear pullbacks. So let me break out the daily time frame first. What I can see, guys, is that price is currently approaching a massive area here. We see resistance, a lot of resistance here. Then the price broke out massively and created a massive leg to the upside. So in and around this area, I think price will find some support. We have 64, let's make it 64,500 in order for it to be a key level, and I think that price is going to tap this area soon, or we might just have that big pullback that we expect. So just having a look at the 4-hourly structure, very unclear, guys. We had the gap, price just pushed to the downside, very little pullback. I was waiting for bigger pullbacks, not to say a retest of this kind of structure and a gap fill, but price just gave us a very little pullback, not even 38.2, push down again, pullback, and a massive push down again. So no opportunities for me on this one. Just breaking down structure right now, well, we can see 3 4-hourly candles here of rejections that possibly on the lower time frames have created some sort of a level. So I will mark them like this. And for reversal, guys, as always, I want to see a strong break above the last structural point, a retest of it, and then the continuation. So how can we expect where the price will go? Well, we just draw a few structural zones. We see tap here, break. This area might be retested. We can do swing high to swing low. We see that is actually 78.6, so it's too high, but we might expect the price to come in and around this area. We might have a daily Fibonacci as well. So what I would advise you is not to go that deep into the analysis and just follow structure, because structure is going to tell you what price is doing. If we have a break and if we have a retest, then we can expect a continuation, then we can expect another pullback, and then we can expect another continuation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's when we can expect the market to continue with the overall trend. So pretty interested about the NZD. Not a very kind of setup that we can really discuss, so let's see how the market develops. I think it's pretty overextended, so I will be looking for some reversals on this one. NZD JPY, let's see what do we have here. So similar to NZD USD, I see some sort of an area here, but that is such a big area, so I'm just gonna drop an average line like this. So what did we have here? We had some sort of a double top, not really a double top, possibly a lower high. Then price broke it. We had the gap here. The gap wasn't filled and the price just continued to melt to the downside. So here we have an area of interest. You see price tapped, broke, didn't come back for a retest, and we have a gap to fill. If we draw a daily Fibonacci around this area, we see it's a perfect 61.8. We've got the daily setup dropping to the 4-hourly time frame, knowing where the levels are. So potentially we're gonna have a look at a retest of this kind of area, which is a 61.8%. You can mark it like this with a line and just type 61.8 just to keep the chart clean. What do we have, guys? We have a massive leg to the downside. What I want to see, again, as the other pairs, is a strong break of this trend line, a potential retest, either a double bottom or a higher low. Head and shoulders as well is possible, and then the reversal. However, keep in mind that we are still in a downtrend. Don't make sure not to go against the trend. Mark your last structure, which is this. You see push, pull back, lower high. Price may come back here and it will find resistance for sure, because there will be people entering shorts here. So we might have a little push to the downside, and it all depends on that push, if it's going to find support and reverse, or if it's going to continue. So let's see how the market will react at this major structural area, which looks something like this. And yeah, we would either have a continuation or a reversal, and it largely depends on the DXY as well and on Euro USD, because they're all positively correlated. However, NZD and Aussie are between each other, they do correlate, so we really have to see how Monday is going to open and how the week is going to start. USD JPY daily time frame. Let's see what do we have here. So we had the market open with a massive gap fill and continuation. Looking at it from the daily, it is pretty clear, but if I drop down to the 4-hourly, it's a complete mess. So how was I looking at this market? Well, at the beginning of the week, which was here, I saw just a consolidation and very messy price action. Then we had this kind of break, which I considered to be a gap fill. So I started to look for short opportunities, but still price was pretty unclear for me. And then we had this push to the downside, and I said, okay, we have the break, so let's wait for a retest. But then we had another very bullish candle here throwing us back exactly into this area. So I just said, well, UJ is not behaving nice, so I let it go. But then this is actually Friday, when we had a lot of news. We had a beautiful 1, 2, 3 formation here and a massive continuation, possibly even an opportunity on the hourly. We see, yeah, it's not pretty clear, head and shoulders, but we see how the structure broke here, how we had a little slowdown around this area and a massive breakout to the downside, and just a very nice continuation. So, and this was very simply I believe a 61.8% FIP. Yep, you see, yeah, it's actually 50%. Price filled the gap, tapped the 50 and 61.8% zone, rejected 2 times, pushed to the downside, but I consider this to be a fake out, so this immediately canceled my confirmations, and I just let it go. How am I looking at this for the next week, guys? Well, I will just want a simple pullback. I will remain sell bias. This structure has to be retested. I consider this to be a fake out, so I am taking this one. This is confluence with FIPS, of course. You see if price finds support somewhere around here. This is perfectly 61.8, so let's wait for a pullback, lower high, 61.8%, and a continuation to the downside, which can take place to the downside here. We see the 62% extension is taking place in and around this area, so I think 27% is perfect because it aligns perfectly with this kind of candle closes here. So let's see pullback and a continuation to the downside with TP actually 108, which is a key level. Beautiful setup. We had a very nice opportunity on USD Swiss. So what did we have here, guys? Well, we just simply had this daily structural area. On this market, price pushed to the downside to create a lower low, then started to exhaust, did not find enough volume here in order to push to the downside, and pulled back all the way to the last daily structural point. What did we have here? We had a massive spike, 1, 2, 3 formation, evening star, a little pullback here, giving us a beautiful head and shoulders on the 4-hourly. So I was looking for a little bit more pullback because I was looking at this kind of area. Why? Because we had a massive wick, tap, and here we had interaction, and this was actually a Fibonacci setup I wanted to see. You see 50%, 61.8%. I wanted to see a bigger pullback. However, price this was on last day, yeah, Friday, just pulled back a little bit, left us with a little rejection and continued to push to the downside. But this was heavily influenced by Euro news, because Euro USD and USD Swiss franc are oppositely correlated, and when Euro started to push up, this started to fall down as well. So very nice setup. We have a broken trend line as well, a retest of the trend line. So this was a pretty nice opportunity, but I just wanted to see a little bit higher. So yeah, deleting everything, knowing what happens, what is the story behind this market. I'm just drawing this very strong area. Potentially we can have a Fibonacci level as well, which is a perfectly 61.8, kind of similar to USD JPY. Let's see if the market is going to find support from this zone right here. Give us that pullback like this, and then we can have a continuation. We have 1, 2, 3, and I think we're gonna have a nice wave to the downside. Checking the daily, we have no price action on the left. The last price action is here, so we are ready to go. So let's see if this plays out. I will be extremely happy if it does. USD CAD daily time frame, we had a beautiful opportunity this week on this pair and on CAD yen, which I'm going to show you right now. So just analyzing this market, I can see that price is going to enter a pretty strong daily area. We had a head and shoulders here. You see resistance, support, resistance again, and price is entering into it. It's not such a major level. We have 32,500, which may act as a psychological number, but I think that this price action is super exhausted, so I would like to see a daily pullback. Knowing this, I drop to the 4-hourly time frame and I identify a nice trend to the upside, getting this. So what opportunity did we have here? Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it was down here, this one. So we had a Fibonacci like this, and we had a little structure, intraday structure like right here. And we saw that the price pulled back into here, very bearish. So I said to my team, wait for that momentum to shift to show you some bullishness. And then we had the bullishness, and we had an opportunity on the hourly time frame, I believe. With this bullish candle, we had a little 15-minute pullback, which took place exactly here after a retest of this structure. So beautiful opportunity. Some of the people got in, and we had a massive swing trade to the upside. Very similar to CAD yen, which we're going to have a look at. So this was a nice opportunity that we had a look this week. So right now, I think it's time for this market to reverse a little bit. So just marking my last structural points. This is the low one. This is the last higher low. Price is currently wicking into this area. So what I would like to see is a strong break of this area, either head and shoulders or a retest of this area, and a continuation to the downside. So let's see. I think this pair is due to a pullback. Possibly it may continue with the overall trend, as we have this trend line, and we might have a big Fibonacci like this, but this is just over analyzing the market. Let's see what is going to happen now. So my bias is kind of a sell bias. So let's see if we have a break, a retest, and a continuation to the downside. GBP USD was massive. As you can see, the last 2 days we had 1, 2, 3 formation, price supporting from this very strong daily demand area, and we even have a close above this daily zone, a massive daily cross indicating a lot of buying pressure. So just from the daily, I can say that I will be buying the pound. What do we have here? Well, we had a big slowdown. We had a massive impulsive move. That was news. Then I expected a little pullback, but price just consolidated around this point and massively broke to the upside. So what I will simply wait, guys, is a pullback around this area, which will be a Fibonacci as well. I believe, yeah, exactly 50%. So let's wait for the price to pull back in and around this area, and then I will wait for a continuation on the pound. We have a beautiful TP at the 27 extension, which perfectly aligns with this kind of structural area. So yeah, very simple analysis. We had tap, 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 tap. Price failed to break below, massive impulsive move. Let's wait for the higher low and then a continuation to the upside. So let's have a look at all the GBP pairs now. GJ kind of the same, but a little bit more confusing. From the daily time frame, I cannot get much except from this very strong supply area and this kind of demand area to the bottom. So dropping to the 4-hourly, we see tap, tap, tap. Price again tapped into here, pushed very strongly to the upside, breaking this descending price action. So similar to GU, I will be looking for buys. I don't see clear structure that the price may come back to retest, so I will just drop a quick Fibonacci because Fibs really work there. Very nice to see where the pullback may occur. I see a little structural point exactly here that already got retested. You can clearly see it on the hourly. You see the break, the retest, and a continuation, but I can see that this price action is too messy. So I think we would better have a look at GU rather than GJ, but this can pull back as well in confluence, in correlation with GU, and we might have a push to the upside. As you can see, the 62% is perfectly aligning with this daily supply zone, so we might have a pullback, higher low, and then an impulsive move to the upside as well. 144.50 key level in this market. So We have a lot of confluences. Let's see if this plays out. GBP AUD is massive just because we had very weak Aussie dollar. This just continued to push massively without stop. How am I looking at this pair, guys? It is pretty overexhausted, overextended. So just trying to find some structural point. Like we had a little slowdown around this area that we can mark as a structure like this. Let's see if the price pulls back. I think this will be a nice 50% as well. Yep, so very similar, guys. All the pairs are similar, just very simple technical analysis. Not going into too much support and resistance because on this one we don't have it on the left, which means that we don't know where price will stop. Yeah, we can always go to the daily to search for some level, but this is 2016, guys. That's 4 years before, so we don't need this level because price is reacting right now to new levels and what people consider to be a high price and a low price. So let's see how this market pulls back to the 50% Fibonacci to the 1.95, which is a massive key area in this market, and I will be looking for long opportunities on this one as well. If this pulls to the downside, we will have a pullback on Aussie USD, and then we might have a continuation, but yeah, they're not that much correlating. It's just the Aussie dollar that gave further strength to the GBP. GBP CAD, as we had the Canadian news as well, and a very strong GBP. What did we have here? We had a break of this structural point. Price slowed down a little bit, created this little pullback, and pushed massively to the upside. So what I will wait, guys, is for a pullback exactly into this area. Actually, it's lovely that all the GBPs are the same because they really, I can see that the pairs are really starting to correlate. So let's see if this gives us a pullback to the 50% to this structural point here, and then we might have a continuation. Looking for confluences, we see the extensions align with this kind of structural point. Let me quickly check the daily. Yeah, so we can have like this as a middle point of this wick, checking the 4-hourly, break, retest, continuation. Yeah, so we can target around 76. We can see 1.76 could be a target, but let's just focus on getting this pullback back into 1.73. Very all the GBPs are perfectly correlating right now, so let's really have a deeper look at them and monitor them for the week ahead. Euro GBP is a little bit messy, so how I will break down the structure, just have a look at the daily time frame. We had a perfect break and retest of this structure. You see break, retest, 3 days of not consolidation but rejection. On the 4-hourly, we had tap, second tap, massive manipulation above, massive bearish engulf. We didn't get any pullback back at it, just continued to push to the downside. So what I will wait on this one is, as always, pullbacks, because I don't want to get that low to sell low. I want to wait for the price to pull back in order for me to sell high. So again, very simple setup. If the GBPs are going to pull back down, this is an oppositely correlating pair, so it should pull back up. So let's see. I think there are lovely setups aligning, especially for the GBPs, so I would be pretty happy to see them playing out. CAD JPY daily time frame, we didn't have that bad price action on this one. Let's have a look at it. So just analyzing this pair from the daily time frame, I can see that this overall uptrend has been broken right now, and price is about to encounter a very strong daily area right here. So dropping down to the 4-hourly, we see that inverse head and shoulders here, left shoulder head, right shoulder, and an uptrend. So I think when price taps into here, we're gonna have some pullback, but I will still remain short bias on this one. So what was the opportunity that we got here? Let me have a look. I think it was, it was around this area. So how were we looking at this market? We had a push, very strong push. We had the gap. We wanted to fill the gap and price to leave a wick. So price just did exactly like this. Then we dropped to the hourly. What do we have here? Well, we had a beautiful double tap. We have a break of this structure. So I said to my team, let's wait for a little retest. Here is our retest. Bearish engulf, potential trading opportunity. Then the price started to consolidate, so we could wait for a break of this area, which potentially got broken, got retested, and then we had another continuation to the downside. So we had numerous opportunities on this one. Even on the last day, I shouted another setup, which I'm gonna share with you right now. Exactly this one here. So let me not delete the daily area though. Just give me a second. Tack. So what did we have? We had a very clear pullback around here, which was a beautiful lower high, dropping down to the hourly time frame where was the setup. We had a little slowdown here, and then we had this bearish close. This is exactly 7 o'clock when I do the morning analysis. So I said to the team, let's see how the market will retest this one, and this already got retested and we had a little push. So an opportunity that I shouted was let's wait for that momentum to push and then for the market to continue pushing, and we can see that the market really plummeted to the downside, hitting around 9 hour, but that's unrealistic because me personally, I would have been taking profits in around this area or this one because we have support here. But beautiful opportunities on CAD yen. I'm really starting to like this pair because it was a pair I introduced this year. So so far so good. How am I looking at this market? Marking the last lower high, push, pull back, lower high, lower low. Let's wait for another lower high. Let's wait for a Fibonacci setup because it perfectly reacts to Fib. And the only thing that worries me is this very strong demand area because we might have a slightly bigger push. So as always, I will make sure to follow structure. But if I see support here, if I see a little pullback into the Fibonacci here, and if I see a confirmation, I will make sure to strike a short no matter what. So beautiful opportunities on CAD yen and a nice one for the upcoming week. Euro Aussie daily time frame, again, as we had a pretty weak Aussie dollar, this one continued to push to the upside, and as we had the Euro news, the last day was a massive push. So what do we have here, guys? Price is currently approaching 1.66, which is a major area in this market, and we can see that the daily is very strongly reacting to that is a very big range here that price is reacting to. So I won't draw a zone, and possibly on the floor, yeah, it's pretty unclear. We can just monitor how the price is going to react here, knowing that there is a very strong supply area. But just looking at the 4 hourly, let me see. Yeah, we're looking at this market like here. Price broke, price pulled back. Not a big pullback. I think 38.2 exactly. Yeah, 38.2. Continuation, very little pullback again, and a massive continuation. So I didn't get any trading opportunity on this one. What do I want to see for the week ahead? Well, I want to see price to pull back around this area because we have push, pullback, push, a little pullback. So this can be considered a higher low. Massive push to the upside. So price should pull back anywhere in between this area to create a higher low and then continue to the upside. But knowing that price is approaching very strong areas, so we might have a little bit of reversal. So make sure to have this trend line as well, because if trend line gets broken and if this structure gets broken, something like this, then we will be having the retest of the trend line, the retest of the structure, or a double top and a reversal to the downside. However, still I will remain buy bias and I will keep buying until I see otherwise. And wrapping up the video with gold, just a quick look because I hate gold at the moment. It's still too uncertain with what is happening. But so far we're seeing bullish pressure. The 4 hourly was forming nice structure this week, kind of. We had this ascending trend line that got respected. You see here two beautiful candles. This was actually, a 78.6 Fib or something like this. Yeah, it depends on how you draw it. I think I had it like this. So for me, it was a 78.6. Two nice candles here, tweezer bottoms. Continue to the upside, tapped into this very strong area, looked like a double top, but you can see the details of structure. Although this was considered to be a double top, price did not make a new low and did not break this. It stayed above, it created a higher low, and it massively pushed to the upside. So I will be buying gold. I'm looking at it as a buy bias market. So this may push up a little bit and then exhaust to form another swing low. 61.8%, 50%, something like this. Make sure to know that we have very strong support on top. We have 1600. So if this gets tapped, we will for sure see a reversal. But overall, the trend is up. So we're gonna keep buying. Let's wait for a little pullback, a clear pullback, confirmation, and then jump into longs. So that's for this week, guys. I really hope you loved the analysis. If you did, make sure to drop me a comment down below. What do you want to see more? Is there anything you're struggling with so I can make a video? Make sure to give me some topics. If you like the video, hit the like button as always. Thank you for staying up until now. I totally appreciate it, and see you on my next video.